Hello peeps, it's the Hillbilly Halfwit. I'm doing another video quick today because I've only just heard the news. And for me, as a Welsh farmer, this is really big for me. It's about the new Welsh subsidy system and how they've changed things. Now, personally, this is what I've been fighting for the last 12 months since I started doing these videos. And I gotta say, it seems like the National Farmers Union of Wales put up a good case to Hugh Jones, and he has changed it so the 10% of tree cover is being removed. So there you are. Well done, National Farmers Union of Wales. I always say when people do a good job, and you've obviously done a good job there. So I've got the sort of press release they're given now. So this for me is a big thing because they really wanted to own 10% of your own property and tell you what to do in it for 10 years. That's what it was all about. You'll still have to do some nature things on there, but you won't have to plant trees. And if you want to, you can. It's just got to be, well, it's a lot better. In my own opinion, that's just me. I'm a small holding farmer. So for me, this is a very big thing. So I could go into the scheme like this and I'd be a lot happier because I love my farm and I just want to look after it in the best way possible and the nature as well. I'm not against it at all. So let's have a quick look. The content in this video is intended for comedic purposes only. The views expressed in this video are not to be taken as factual information or representational of my personal beliefs. I'm critically reviewing the info and vids I show as examples. Now, I've got to say, Hugh Davis, when he took charge, I've got to say, I've looked through him in detail as an MP and things, and he's been a very hardworking guy. I don't agree with him on everything, but he's obviously listened here, and I commend him for that because this has been a big thing for me. Like I said earlier, I would go into the scheme now, no problem. But before that, I wouldn't have. So this hopefully is a good thing for me. I accept everybody, not everybody is going to be happy with it, but I am happy with this one change. I'm not an intensive farm. I just love my farm. I want to look after it, pass it on to the next generation after me, and not be pushed around on your own place, really. There's lots of things coming in as well where you have vetting inspections, but that's coming anyway. So here we are. I'll go through it quietly. I don't know if I'll read it all, but you see. This is just a quick thing that was that I saw before. Hugh Davis, the Deputy First Minister of Wales, confirmed a number of changes to the Welsh Government's controversial sustainable farming scheme. The scheme, which resulted in thousands of farmers protesting outside the Welsh Parliament in Cardiff Bay in February, was widely criticised by opposition parties and farming leaders. Mr. Davis said changes to the scheme addresses the needs of Welsh farmers while supporting sustainable production of food, as well as climate change and nature commitments. Speaking from the Royal Welsh Winter Fair in Llanelwedd in Powys, he said, following the consultation, it was clear changes are needed. We said we would listen, and we have done that. Well done to you. I will always say that to people who listen. Farmers are at the heart of communities right across Wales, and they play a crucial role in our economy and food production. As stewards of our land, they also have a key role to play in protecting and restoring nature and tackling the climate emergency. Changes to the scheme include the removal of farm level figure for tree cover, which will be replaced with a scheme-wide target. A spokesman said farmers will therefore no longer be asked to have a minimum of 10% tree cover on their land. Farmers who apply for the scheme will be able to decide where they want to add more trees or hedges on their farm and how many, with funding to support them through the optional part of the scheme. That is a lot better, because I've certainly got a place on my farm where I would like to plant 2 lengths of hedge. So that is a different story. When they give you the option to do something that you want to do instead of forcing something on you, that's better. However, farmers will still be required to manage at least 10% of their farm as habitat. Well, I do, and lots of farmers do anyway. You know, As long as that isn't some really weird thing, that I'm okay with that. The Welsh Government is now considering options to create temporary habitat to help farmers meet this requirement, which should be suitable for all farming systems and land ownership. Action relating to the animal health, welfare and biosecurity have been merged to focus discussions with the farm vet on improved health and welfare outcomes, the spokesman added. Now, lots of people who don't realise this, I'm a farmer who's one of very few who is not in hardly any schemes. And last year, this time of year, I was stopped to sell my stock at the market because they brought in this new vet law, and it was so busy they couldn't do it. So I had sheep, lambs to sell here that I couldn't sell till after Christmas, till the vet came here. And they basically came here and said, yeah, everything's okay, and on you go. So, this stuff is maddening. They don't realise what they're doing. So this is coming in, whatever. I've got this already. I have to do this already. I have to have a personal vet's visit here to have the things checked, which I never used to have before. So that's happened already. So I'm okay with that. There's also going to be some bullshit in it. We know there is, but there we are. The scheme has included a requirement for all farms to have wash stations where equipment is cleaned, but now this is optional. Additional payments will be made for social value under the universal part of the scheme, representing the wider benefits which come from sustainable agricultural industry, the Welsh Government said. I hate that word sustainable. Oh, it drives me up the wall. Mr. Arankadaris added that the updates represent significant progress, but they were not the final scheme, with a decision to be made on this next summer. Well, I hope he doesn't go back on this, because I will be seriously mad then, because I'm quite happy with this. Details of payment rates will not be provided until then. We are developing a scheme which is designed to support all farmers in Wales based on a completion of a set of universal actions, he said. These actions will be familiar to farmers in Wales, whether beef, dairy, arable, upland, lowland, intensive or extensive or intensive. They are actions many of them take on a day-to-day basis. We've come a long way and there is still more work to do, he added. The NFU Cymru President, Aled Jones, speaking at the Royal Welsh Winter Fair, said it welcomed the partnership approach Mr. Arankadaris had put in place and listened to the concerns of the farming industry. And I totally agree with him. It's not always that I agree with the NFU, Cymru and all that, but I got to say, well done to Mr. Arankadaris. That's what I always say something to somebody when I think they've actually listened. So there we are. This is an example for other people. Listen to what people have to say and then act on it, and they will thank you for it. The union has been involved with the ministerial roundtable subgroups. Mr. Jones added, Welsh Government has confirmed this is not the final scheme design, and Welsh ministers have not made any final decisions. NFU Cymru is pleased that Welsh Government has committed to undertake economic analysis and an impact assessment of the revised proposals to understand what the scheme will mean for farmers and wider society. He called for the new scheme to provide the same level of stability to farm businesses, rural communities and the supply chain as a current basic payment scheme. Yes, that was a good scheme. There is much more work to do in the incoming months on the final scheme detail, as well as a number of fundamental aspects of the scheme design, including the payment methodology and payment rates ahead of the publication of the final scheme, expected in July 2025, he added. Securing Welsh Government's commitment to a well-funded multi-annual budget for the scheme that matches the scale of our ambition for a sustainable growth of the food and farming sector alongside the delivery of key environmental outcomes for society is going to be crucial. We have seen the budget for farming eroded by inflation and subjected to in-year cuts. The need to restore and enhance the budget cannot be overstated. Mr. Jones added that there was a huge amount of work to be done and many aspects of the scheme. Well, there we are. I've got to say, as a smallholder and from farms I know in this area, this is a good thing, because it's been very worrying, because I literally didn't know if I was going to have anything at all next year. And I don't make only 10,000 a year as it is. That's before I even pay my council tax. So I had no idea what was coming next year. Nothing. I still don't know what's going to go on. But this, for me, just personally for me, this has made me feel like that, like a weight has been lifted, thankfully. I know this can all change very quick, and I know people are probably going to see this video and think, what are you talking about? But I've got to live like a lot of people, you know. So that is a big, big thing for me, that change. So obviously things can change in the future, but I just thought I'd update everybody with a no bull explanation of it all. And hopefully this will work well for the Welsh farming industry. And well done, NFU Wales. If you don't mind, subscribe below. All the best. Gaz.